Mr. President, managers, thank you for taking the time to tune into my program update. The purpose of this presentation is to provide a brief overview and update of the district's education and outreach program. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself as the program lead. As some of you may know, I joined the district back in 2016 as the watershed assistant with an educational background in biological sciences and studio arts with an emphasis in graphic design. As the district has grown over the years, I've slowly transitioned into the role I have now as the Operations and Outreach Specialist, and I'm currently pursuing an Environmental Education Certificate from Hamline University. As someone who grew up in the Forest Lake area, it really brings me great joy to work in a role that allows me to serve and educate the community in which I grew up in. And as such, the growth that we're seeing in this program is incredibly exciting to me, so I'm excited to share that with you in this presentation. So turning our focus to the Education Outreach Program, I wanted to start by taking a look at the program through the lens of our Watershed Management Plan. According to the plan, at its core, the purpose of the Education and Outreach Program is to provide opportunities for residents, LGUs, and staff to build their knowledge and understanding of our local water resources. In order to accomplish this purpose and meet the specific goals for the program that we have outlined in our Watershed Management Plan, the Education and Outreach Program is divided into three categories: 3005A, Ongoing Initiatives, 3005B, Standard Project Signage, and 3005C, Local Student Engagement. To really dig into what the Education and Outreach Program has been up to over the years, I want to take a minute and touch on some of the specifics for each of these three categories. First up, we have Ongoing Initiative. So this is the category that includes many of the classic items one might consider education and outreach, such as events, presentations, and workshops. This particular area of ongoing initiatives has already seen a fair amount of growth this year as we're transitioning out of the pandemic and into, again, more in-person events. For example, this spring, the district has developed a new partnership with the Hardwood Creek Library to host community programming, including several turf talks and two new programs, including lake-friendly landscaping, which was done with land management specialist Aidan Reed, and an upcoming hands-on aquatic plant identification workshop with watershed assistant Garrett Miller. Also in ongoing initiatives, we have print materials. So this is definitely going to be an area where we see some major updates coming down the pipe as a result of our work with Artisan Venture Lab and the updated branding and style guides. This is an area where we have seen some growth over the years. I've spent a lot of time updating our newsletters, our brochures, Shoreline Tools and Rules manual, but we're really going to see a big overhaul in this area once we have updated branding and style guides so that the district really has a cohesive feel to all of the materials that are going out and has a unified message that's being conveyed to the public to really make sure that we're telling our story in a way that's effective with the general public. Digital communications and press communications also fall under ongoing initiatives. While both of these areas have seen major growth over the years, the specific messaging and communication goals within our developing communications plan are what will really drive the enhancements in this area. So again, that the district is actively and effectively telling its story and keeping the public updated and informed. So in this area, it includes social media, so that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. All of those areas have steadily over time increased in the amount of content that's being pushed out. And what's really going to change there is we will still have consistent publications of items on those platforms, but we'll have a unified message and story that we'll be sharing with the public. Same will be going for press communications. Right now, a lot of our press communications are done through MREP and Angie Hong's monthly article in the Forest Lake Times. We do submit a few of our own press releases. However, again, having that specific guidance that will be developed in our communications plan is really what's going to bring our press communications to the next level. Last but not least for ongoing initiatives, I want to make sure I give credit to the MREP program, that's the East Metro Water Resource Education Program, for all the assistance that they provide to our education and outreach program. We borrow a lot of tabletop display materials and games from MREP. They're also an excellent source for an extra set of hands when we host large-scale events. An example of that would be in the past when we've done the Girl Scouts Wonders of Waters journey. That's when we had upwards of 80 Girl Scouts out at Camp Lacamaga to learn about water. And so with that, I was able to run one event with the groundwater models, and Angie Hong from MREP was able to run another section using the hands-on watershed game. Moving on from ongoing initiatives, we have standard project signage. This area of education and outreach is really poised to see the biggest jump in activity with the implementation of the communications plan and the district's branding effort. Up until this point, the district has had very minimal signage throughout our district, and it's mostly been consisting of our required Clean Water Fund signage and some small water quality improvement signage. The last category of our education and outreach program is local student engagement. This category includes all of our annual student engagement, such as the water quality talks and sidewalk chalk activities at Lakes International Language Academy, and our participation in the annual Chisago County Children's Water Festival. Staff also support local students by participating in career fairs and talks. This year I was invited to the Forest Lake High School to participate in Career Exploration Day and talk with a group of students about job opportunities in local government and natural resources. This is an area where we really try to assist schools and teachers on an as-needed basis. We offer pretty much whatever they need. For the most part, we have teachers coming to us who are saying, you know, we have this unit on the water cycle. Would you be able to come in and give a 10-minute presentation? Or would you be able to come in and lead a hands-on activity about the water cycle? So this area has really been on pause over the last couple years where our schools have been dealing with the challenge of distance learning. However, like I said earlier in the presentation, as we are beginning to transition out of the COVID era and back into in-person planning, we're already starting to see more pickup in this area with teachers inviting us back into the classroom. So now that we've talked a little bit about each of the program areas, the big question is, what's next? There's no question that our education and outreach program has grown over the years, but there are a few big items on the horizon that will continue to push the program forward and bring us into the next phase of education and outreach. And that's really what I want to highlight next here. So as mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, I started at the district as a watershed assistant, and for several years, my role in education was on an as-needed basis. This year has really been the first year where the majority of my work plan has been dedicated to education and outreach. We also have the addition of our senior program manager, Beth Carino, to our team. Beth brings with her a professional background in environmental education and will be invaluable to the development of the program and our new communications plan. It's also important to point out that the adoption of the new watershed management plan brought with it new goals for the education and outreach program, and we will also soon have new branding and style guidelines to implement as well. But in the end, what it really comes down to, what will really be making the biggest impact on the education and outreach program is the development of our new communications plan. Per the board's direction to begin drafting the new plan in-house, staff have already begun outlining the process and laying the groundwork for the new plan. I'm really excited to see where this program will be at this time next year when we have this new communications plan in place and can really hit the ground running. So overall, we're in a very exciting point in the growth of our education and outreach program with a lot of updates and improvements coming in down the line. If you're interested in the specific goals and metrics of the program, I encourage you to take a look at the 2021 progress report, which is linked on our website, and reach out with any questions you may have. Of course, as these different areas of the program continue to develop, I will continue to provide updates to the board, either via the agenda specifically or through updates like these. Again, I thank you for your time and tuning in, and I look forward to seeing where the program is in the near future. Thank you.